Kara Kamala Vare Nakha Madhuta Singha Dalita Hiranya Kashipu Tanubhingha Keshavadhita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Adbhuta Singha Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanu Jaya Nrsimhadev, Jaya Nrsimhadev, Jaya Nrsimhadev, Jaya Nrsimhadev. Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Nrsimhadev Bhagwan ki, Prahlad Maharaj ki.
Hare Krishna. So, thank you everyone for coming to Bhaktivedanta Manor on this cloudy, rainy day. You know, many people were looking out the window and they thought, I'll just sit beside the radiator at home. You know? But anyway, you all made the sacrifice, despite whatever the weather was or whatever the mental weather was. You all made it here, so you all get special blessings from Radha and Krishna and Sitaram, Gaunitai and Prabhupada. So well done. So whenever there is an opportunity to do something which is auspicious and beneficial, like making a pilgrimage to the temple, come and hear kirtan, participate, hear the Gita, take prasad, associate with devotees. Then even if the weather is not good, if we make the endeavor, then we get special blessings. It's called yajna, sacrifice, we do some austerities, you know. But anyway, thank you all for coming. So please keep coming, take advantage of Bhaktivedanta Manor. This is your home, and you can learn, and we have so many nice courses going on, and so many activities everyone can participate in. So now in the temple room, we just need to clear a little space in that area there. We're going to have a Bhagavad Gita class now. And then also right now in the Haveli for the next hour and a half, they are serving lunch prasad and Mahaprasad for everyone. So make sure none of you go home without taking some prasad. Thank you very much. And next Aarti will be at 4:20. Hare Krishna.
meal. Stop it. Go. Let's go. They're hungry now, isn't it? Up for it.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Hare Krishna. So now there'll be a Bhagavad Gita class. So we ask that those who are staying in the temple room to hear the Bhagavad Gita from His Grace Rasananda Sankirtan Prabhu. We kindly ask all of the people in the temple room to sit on this side of the room, facing the speaker who will be sitting here. So thank you, everyone, for coming. And you're in the good care of Rasananda Sankirtan. He'll begin by singing a wonderful bhajan called Jai Radha Madhav. It's usually sung in a call and response fashion, so we encourage everyone to participate.
Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavarava Jaya Girivaradari 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 Yashodanandana Vrajadanaranjana Yashodanandana Yashodanandana Vrajadanaranjana Yashodanandana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jayurada Madhava Jaya Kunja Vihari Jayurada Madhava Jaya Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopirana Varava Jaya Girivardhari Jaya Gopijana Varava Jaya Girivardhari Yashodanandana Vrajadanaranjana Yashodanandana Yashodanandana Vrajadanaranjana Yashodanandana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jayurada Madhava Jaya Kunja Vihari Jayurada Madhava Jaya Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopirana Varava Jaya Girivardhari Jaya Gopirana Varava Jaya Girivardhari Yashodanandana Vrajadanaranjana 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 Yashodanandana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari, Jaya Gopijana Varava, Jaya Girivardhari, Jaya Gopijana Varava, Jaya Girivardhari, Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana, Yashoda Dana Vrajajana Ranjana, Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana, Yashodanandana Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Yamuna Vanachari. If would you please repeat after me? Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. I hope you can see the new screens. We didn't have those before, but they're very practical. So we have the verse that we're going to read today. So normally I wasn't supposed to give this class. I was asked last minute, so please bear with me. So the verse we're going to read today is Bhagavad Gita 1865. How many of you have Bhagavad Gita and read Bhagavad Gita? Most of you, I would assume, right? Do you know this verse? Have you seen this verse before? It's a very, very famous verse, actually. So let's recite it together. Manmana bhava mad bhakto. You can repeat. Manmana bhava mad bhakto. Mam yaji mam namashkuru. Mame vyashashi satyam te pratijane priyoshime manmana bhava ma bhakto mam yaji mam namaskuru mame vyashashi satyam te pratijane priyoshime. Okay, one last time, a little bit louder. Manmana bhava mad bhakto mam yaji mam namaskuru mamme vashashi satyam te pratijane priyoshime. All right. Now, let's read the translation and the purport by His Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada Ki Jai. So always think of me, become my devotee, worship me and offer your homage unto me. Thus you will come to me without fail. I promise you this because you are my very dear friend. So if you can repeat after me also. Always think of me. Become my devotee. Worship me and offer your homage unto me. Thus you will come to me without fail. I promise you this, because you are my very dear friend. Okay, so the purport. The most confidential part of knowledge is that one should become a pure devotee of Krishna and always think of him and act for him. One should not become an official meditator. Life should be so molded that one will always have the chance to think of Krishna. One should always act in such a way that all his daily activities are in connection with Krishna. He should arrange his life in such a way that throughout the 24 hours, he cannot but think of Krishna. And the Lord's promise is that anyone who is in such a pure Krishna consciousness will certainly return to the abode of Krishna, where he will be engaged in association of Krishna face to face. This most confidential part of knowledge is spoken to Arjuna because he is the dear friend of Krishna. Everyone who follows the path of Arjuna can become a dear friend to Krishna and obtain the same perfection as Arjuna. These words stress that one should concentrate his mind upon Krishna. The very form with 2 hands carrying a flute, the bluish boy with the beautiful face and peacock feathers in his hair. There are descriptions of Krishna found in the Brahma Samhita and other literatures. One should fix his mind on this original form of Godhead, Krishna. One should not even divert his attention to other forms of the Lord. The Lord has multi forms as Vishnu, Narayan, Rama, Varaha, etc. But a devotee should concentrate his mind on the form that was present before Arjuna. Concentration of the mind on the form of Krishna constitutes the most confidential part of knowledge. And this is disclosed to Arjuna because Arjuna is the most dear friend to Krishna's. All right, so I will just, we're going to have a little go over this verse, and I will seek the blessings of the Vaishnavas and all the congregation. So I may say something that is worthwhile and that will benefit everyone. And I will leave some time, hopefully, because sometimes I get lost. And so you can ask questions about the subject matter. So first I'm going to recite the invocation prayers, so to request benediction from our predecessors and our teachers. Om Magyana Timidandarsya Janandana Sharakaya Shakshuru Militam Yena Tashmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Shtapitam Yena Bhutare Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamaram Shri Gurum Vaishnavam Sha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Ragunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Saijana Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Rarita Shri Vishaka Vitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tatta Kanchana Gorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshvari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hare Priye Vancha Karpatarubhyasha Kripa Sindhu Vyaevacha Patitana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gora Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So let me repeat the verse one more time. Always think of me, become my devotee, worship me and offer your homage unto me. Thus you will come to me without fear. I promise you this because you are my very dear friend. So this is very interesting because Prabhupada mentioned in the verse that actually one who molds his life around Krishna consciousness, is someone that is very intelligent, that can attain the ultimate goal of life, going back home, back to Godhead. And so congratulations, because most of you are molding your life since you are here in the temple. You are trying to have a contact with Krishna consciousness and to come and see the personal form of the Lord with his flute playing and his concert. And of course, we say that this is the most beautiful form of the Lord, but it's up to everyone. And what is interesting about this particular verse, and the reason why I chose it, is because this verse kind of reveals a very confidential truth about Krishna consciousness. You see, in Bhagavad Gita, in the introduction, Prabhupada mentions that there are different topics that will be addressed in Bhagavad Gita. For example, the topic of Ishvara, God, who is God? The topic of the Jiva, who is the living entity? The topic of Prakriti, what is material nature? The topic of Kala, what is time? And those topics are all treated differently. But the interesting topic here is the relationship between the Jiva and the Ishvara, the Supreme God. And one of the reasons, actually, Krishna reveals this knowledge to Arjuna, and he says it so many times in Bhagavad Gita, and here I have a few verses that we can go over. For example, in 4.3, the Supreme Lord says, I'm just going to read the English translation. The very ancient science of the relationship with the Supreme is today told by me to you, because you are my devotee, as well as my friend, and can therefore understand the transcendental mystery of this science. And then again, 10.1 of Bhagavad Gita, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, listen again, Almighty armed Arjuna, because you are my dear friend. For your benefit I shall speak to you further, giving knowledge that is better than what I have already explained. And again, this verse, of course, this is the one actually before this one that we are reading. Because you are my very dear friend, I am speaking to you my supreme instruction, the most confidential knowledge of all. Heed this from me, for it is for you benefit. So you see, there's something that comes up again and again in those verses. So when Arjuna finds himself on the battlefield of Kurukshetra and he doesn't not know what to do, he's confused about his duty. He says to Krishna, Karpanya doshupahata svabhavaha prijami dvam dharma samudachitaya yachreyasha nishitam bruhitame shishasteham sadimam dvam prapanam. And this is very instructive because he's basically requesting his friend Krishna to help him. So here we're going to explore a little bit on the nature of friendship, because Prabhupada also explains in the introduction of Bhagavad Gita that there are 5 different types of rasas, or relationship one can entertain with the Supreme Lord. One is Shanta, the other one is Dasya, the other one is Sakya, the other one is Vatsalya and Madhurya. So here we're going to talk a little bit about the Sakya relationship. So why is it that the Supreme Lord reveals this knowledge to Arjuna? He could have revealed it to anyone else, really. But why Arjuna? So can you tell me why is that? Yeah, he's dearest to Lord Krishna, because there are 5 brothers actually, 5 Pandavas. He could have revealed it to you. They say, after all, Yudhishthira is the one who's going to be the king. He's the elder brother also, So Krishna chose to be the charioteer of Arjuna for a specific reason. Go on. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, so this comes up again. So he's the dearest one to Krishna. So let's say that you want to know a secret, because we all have secrets, let's be honest. So if you want to know a secret about someone, would that person reveal their secret if they don't know you? No, impossible. Actually, you have to have a relationship with them. And not only that, you have to have a very intimate relationship with them. And then that person has the ability to open up and reveal their mind to you. This is one of the principles that actually Rupa Goswami instructs us in his Upadeshamrita, that we should always reveal our minds to the devotees. So just a little point here, when we come to these places like temples or we go to holy places, it is said that more than just taking darshan of those holy places and the holy rivers, it's to have the association of sadhus. So to go and actually connect with saintly people And in that way, those people can reveal us, this transcendental knowledge. This is why Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Tadvidi pranipatena pranipashna sevaya upadeshyanti te jnanam. That we should go and see those sages because they have seen the truth, and they can reveal that truth to us. Jnaninas tattvadarshina. So in this way, we really have to understand this relationship. What is the substance itself of friendship? Like I said, this is one of the rasas that we encounter in the spiritual world. But the difference that there is with this type of relationship in the material world, actually, there's a problem with that. Prahlad Maharaj says in Bhagavad Gita, he's a pure devotee of the Lord, that whenever we come into this world, we are afflicted by the different modes of material nature. So we are actually constantly in duality. So whenever you see friends, you will also see enemies. Exactly. So especially when we enter into politics, this is an arena where you cannot avoid having friends and enemies. You have to make allies and you have to make enemies in order to progress, because you are putting forth some ideology you want people to accept, and you will always encounter opposition, and therefore you have to make your position strong by either making allies or making enemies. And it says that this is kind of like the marker of success. And there's this saying that if you don't have enemies, it's because you're not famous or you're not important. Like the moment you have enemies, actually that means that you're quite important, and that people kind of like recognize how dangerous you can be or how valuable you can be. So they try to kind of take you down in that way. So in a similar way, Prabhupada said that this Krishna consciousness movement, actually it's very dangerous, but in a transcendental way, meaning that even the spiritualists will always encounter enemies, oppositions. So if you are a person in the world, you will always see people who will actually, blaspheme against devotees, blaspheme against this philosophy, Krishna consciousness, religion in general, And those people are not friends, Again, this knowledge can only be revealed for those people who are friendly to Krishna consciousness, those people who are open-minded, who are sincere, and have those qualities, Because Arjuna has one quality that is very particular, is that he has a soft heart. He's very compassionate. Arjuna, when he comes into the battlefield and he sees all the arrangements of the enemies, and he sees his teachers, Duryodhana, he sees his cousin, he sees Dronacharya, his Bhishma. He says, Krishna, how can I fight these people? They're my family, But Krishna has to teach him what is real compassion. Not compassion that pertains to the body, but compassion that pertains to the soul. Prabhupada always gives this nice analogy that, if you see a person drowning, what is the use of saving his clothes? You should serve the person himself. So this material body is like, our covering, our clothes. And what we need to serve is actually the soul, And in this way, this verse is considered to be the essence of Bhagavad Gita, because actually this verse is repeated twice in Bhagavad Gita. So when God repeats something twice, it must mean it's very important, right? So something other about this particular verse, again, is like if you try to understand the essence of the spiritual knowledge, so therefore we have to become a friend. And more than that, we need to understand actually who is the spiritual master. Here we have A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, who is the founder Acharya of this movement. You probably all heard about him, I suppose. So he's very special because what he has brought to the world, to the West, is pretty incredible. And we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him. So by his mercy, we can actually sit together and speak about those topics, Krishna consciousness, take darshan of the deities, and take prasadam also. Things that will benefit our life, not only this life, but the next lives also. So you see, most people in this world don't even have any idea of reincarnation. They don't even have any idea of that there will be a next life. So they don't take the appropriate measures in order to actually, assure that they will have a life that is beneficial for them, a spiritual life, or go back home straight to Godhead. Most people don't even imagine this type of concepts, So that kind of gives us, let's say, an advantage because we have everything around us in order to grow spiritually. One of our teachers, Paramakaruna Prabhu, who's teaching us the Bhakti Shastri here at the Bhaktivedanta Manor, maybe you encountered him or you probably saw him before. He told us the saddest thing in the world, the saddest thing you can find is that if you have everything around you, everything possible, all the resources, all the knowledge, the perfect teachers, the perfect association, and still you do not grow spiritually. Still you stay on a material platform. He says this is the saddest thing. Because why would you not take advantage of that, If you have the opportunity to be happy in this world, why not take advantage of it? Because in a sense, we are completely taken over by this material nature because we think so many things, kartahamiti manyate, that we are the doer, but actually everything is being done by the energies, external energy of the Lord. So a little bit more about the spiritual master. It is described in scriptures that the spiritual master is our best friend. Again, why is that? Because it's only a person that really cares about you, that will do everything in his power to deliver you from the suffering, from this ocean of nations. We also sing it actually during Guru Puja every morning, Shri Guru Karuna Shindu Adama Janara Bandhu. So Adama Janara Bandhu means like he's a friend to our living entity. Karuna Shindu, that he's a notion of mercy, like this. So we need to understand what is the role of the spiritual master is to lead us, to guide us within the spiritual world so we can stop suffering in this material world. So, So one last point I wanted to mention is that we should not neglect the Lord. It is said in the scriptures that there are different ways to insult a person. There are different. You can insult a person directly, indirectly, physically. You can insult them by words, through the mind, for example, in many ways. But the worst possible way you can insult a person is by being indifferent, by not responding to them, by ignoring them. And this is what we have been doing for lifetime and lifetimes when it comes to Krishna and the Supreme Lord. We have been ignoring him. We have been denying our relationship with him. We have been rejecting him, basically. The one who is the same source of our own life, our pran, we have negated him, basically, This is why Prabhupada comes into this age, because he strongly fights against Mayavadis, because Mayavadis and impersonalists, they don't recognize that the Lord has a form, that he's personal, that we can have a relationship with him. You may agree that it's difficult to have a relationship with nothingness or the all pervasiveness of everything, So you need to have a person, You can see face to face. Prabhupada mentioned this in the purport that you can see Krishna face to face. And this is something that we must have faith in. Actually, me, myself, when I was in the United States and studying, and when I discovered Krishna consciousness, I was constantly reading Srila Prabhupada's books. But one thing that struck me really is one of a website, a Krishna conscious website, and they had many articles. And one of those articles was titled, How to Meet Krishna Face to Face. That is something that is actually possible. You can meet the Supreme Lord face to face, and that's like his pure devotees say, that is the perfection of our life when we do that. So we shouldn't neglect our friends, whether it's in our material relationship or spiritual relationship. Actually, we should never neglect our friends. I know sometimes that we do this, when we receive a text for someone and we're like, I'm not gonna answer that now, I'm too busy, or we think of doing some other things, But if we understand what friendship means, actually, we try to tend to the needs of the people we care for. It is said that the first class disciple, actually, he doesn't even need to wait for his spiritual master to tell him what to do. He can instantly read the mind of his spiritual master and therefore act accordingly, serve his spiritual master without even him saying anything. So friendship means that you serve a person without them even asking for it, you see? So that is the best type of friendship you can have. So Now I'm going to leave it open if you have any questions you would like to ask or any comment you would like to do. So we can kind of open up and go deeper into this particular topic. Anyone? So if no one has any question, I may tell you one story about Sudama Vipra. So that's a very nice story telling how Krishna, when he was in Gurukul actually, he had a friend, Sudama Vipra. And one day he was sent by his guru to the forest to pick up wood, And he went with Sudama. And they also packed up lunch. So they packed up lunch in order to go and have something if they were hungry, and just in case. So when they went to the forest, it was the rainy season, so it was very, very rainy. So the time was like very horrible. So at some point, what happened is that Sudama had the lunch with him that he was supposed to share with Krishna, And while they were taking refuge and shelter of one tree, what happened is, and then I can mention something about the trees later. What happened is that when Krishna asked Sudama if he would share the lunch, Sudama said actually there was not enough. He had already eaten it, but he couldn't admit that to Krishna, so he kind of lied, But Krishna, being the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he knew this, Of course, he didn't take it seriously anyway. He was just testing his devotees to see where his heart was at, So if we move forward many years later, Sudama Vipra is a Brahmana. He has his family, but he's very poor. He's literally very poor. He has nothing. His children are very like skinny, like his wife, same, because they barely have anything to eat. So his wife has this idea and tells Sudama Vipra, look, I know that your friend is Krishna. And at that time, Krishna was, king of Dwaraka. So he was very powerful and very opulent. He said, you can go and see him and ask him to help us. He's your friend. And basically, Sudama couldn't, he didn't feel comfortable going and asking anything from his friend, Krishna. Although he knew that he had, Krishna was very opulent, he was the Supreme Lord. But he couldn't, do that to his friend. So after his wife insisted many times, because that's the duty of why she has to take care of the family, so he decided to go to see Krishna. But although he had nothing to offer to Krishna, so he thought, I cannot just go and ask for something. So he decided to beg for some, rice on the way, So all he had was a handful of cheap rice when he came to Krishna. And of course, Krishna at that time, he already understood his mind again, the reason why he had come, And reluctantly, Subhadama, he didn't even say anything. He didn't even ask for anything. He just gave his offering to Krishna, and Krishna took it with so much, bliss. He really appreciated it. After he sat him and he washed the feet of Sudama, his own friend. You see that the Supreme Lord can take that position of washing the feet of his own devotee. This is pretty incredible. So after he really took care of Sudama and they talk about their old times, because that's what you do with friends, you remember the good times. So when Sudama went back to his house, he couldn't even recognize the village. He couldn't even recognize, his wife, because it's like it had become like the heavenly planet. His wife had become so beautiful, and he had such a big palace, and all the opulences you can think of, he had. And that was by the mercy of Krishna. Because just by offering, the little that we have with sincerity, without expecting anything in return, it turns out that the Lord can be very merciful and give everything in return to us. So I thought that this story was very interesting to understand how the Lord treats his friend. So if we want to actually make advancement, we should understand what is our relationship with the Lord and how do we relate to him. Not that it's just some entity that is out there, that is supreme and that we cannot have access to, but there's something very much intimate and much more personal. So again, I'm going to ask, anyone has any questions or comments? Yeah, please, Mata. Yes. So it is said that there are like 9 processes of devotional service, starting by Shravanam Kirtanam, and then we have Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, we have Archanam, Vadanam, we have Dasyam, Sakyam, and we have Atmanivedanam. For example, when we talk about Ambarish Maharaj, also a devotee of the Lord, he was actively engaging all his senses in the service of the Lord. Although he was a king, so you can imagine he's a king, though he's very busy, but he was engaging absolutely everything for the pleasure of the Lord. And one of those elements of processes of devotional service is, again, it's sakyam, so friendship. So literally, if we become friends with the Lord, it means that we need to actually build an internal relationship with it. It's not really about what we are doing externally. It's how we meditate on the Lord, the inner bhajana conversation that we have constantly. Because, we have this body and we have this mind, and we often think that we are alone in our mind or in our head. See, the thing is that the Lord is within the heart of everyone. So he's constantly a witness to our thoughts, our emotions, and everything that goes on through us, because he's seated within the heart of our soul. So basically, by just keeping a close connection with the Lord in this way, for example, like Arjuna said, when he was in distress, he just took shelter of Krishna. He asked Krishna for help. So another one of the processes of bhakti is vadanam, so to pray. So praying is a very powerful thing. So let's say you don't have the opportunity to come to the temple and you are constantly outside in the world. So praying just means that you constantly have an inner conversation with the Lord, because he reciprocates with us. You see? So in that manner, whatever you may be doing, if you manmana bhavamad bhakto, if you constantly think of the Lord, you'll be sure that you're going to develop a friendship with him, So in this way, we can try to, for example, chant his glory, satatam kirtayanto mam. We can try to basically, do whatever we can. And he recognizes the effort that we are putting into it. There was one of our teachers, actually, he told us that for us who live in the temple, because we just have to wake up and we come down and we have Mangalarati, we have darshan of the Lord. So it's very easy for us. So actually the Lord is more pleased when you come and see him. He sees us every day. He's like, But if you come and you take some time out of your work, out of your family to come and see the Lord, he's very pleased. He's even more pleased than just seeing the same people every day, actually, because it becomes easy. So when we put a little effort and endeavor, actually the Lord appreciates that, because he sees that in us, And it's according to everyone's capacity. Not everyone has the same capacity to engage in spiritual life, but if we try the best we can and try to associate with sadhus, again, devotees, then in that way, you can be sure, guaranteed by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, that the success is guaranteed in this way. Any other question? Do you have a question, Prabhu? Please ask a question. I think we have some time until there's less than 10 minutes left. No questions at all? All right. So maybe I can mention something else, and then we can stop there. So something very interesting that we can find in the life of Prahlad Maharaj is that at 5 years old, when he was at school with his other playmates and friends, when they would constantly ask him, come and play with us, come, just don't bother, let's play together. Prahlad Maharaj would say that actually, even at the youngest age, it's important for a person to take up Krishna consciousness or spiritual life, So because we can actually find a lot of joy in Krishna consciousness. Not that it's something that we have to do as a chore, and that it's boring, and it's actually, he says that this process is full of joy, and for that reason we should try to engage in Krishna consciousness as much as possible, even from the youngest age. For example, we have many families coming here, that constantly, actually come and take the darshan of deities, also do kirtan and some. And sometimes you see that the children are left alone, so they have absolutely nothing to do. And when a child has nothing to do, he becomes agitated, especially young boys. So they need to do something. So just by engaging them in service, by telling them to do something in the temple, or even when you're at home, engaging the children in service somehow or other is something that is very, very beneficial for their spiritual life. Because all this energy that they have, they can focus it on something that is practical, but also that is very spiritual. So they benefit from a very young age. Like most of us, actually, we didn't come into Krishna consciousness until very late. I started my spiritual life like 4 years ago, and now I've been a brahmachari for maybe a year and a half and so. So it hasn't been very much time. But you see that if you had seen me before, you would have believed it. So you see that one can make a lot of progress just by sincerely being active and endeavoring in this environment in spiritual life. So, yeah. Okay. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Gaura Premanande. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Trying to take enough, actually.
Well, the mic. I need to put this through now.
चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.